Hey mine's cool and welcome back. So this video is going to be a bit different. Not really something I've done before, but definitely something I'd like to try to make a bit more. So it's basically just going to be me sitting down and exploring some sound design. So I'm trying to spend more time actively making patches for my circuit tracks, because a lot of my music just uses the same patches over and over and it's a bit boring. So I'm just trying to, like, every day sit down, make 3 or 4 patches. Before I know it, I'll have a good selection to choose from every time I want to sit down and make a beat. So that's why I've just been sat here today for a good few hours making some patches. So here we have the Novation component software, and I know this is going to look terrible on the camera, but it's just for a moment, so bear with me. So I have this sound so far. I've made a little sequence with it, but this is the patch I'm working on. And I mapped the amp envelope parameter onto the release of the sound, and then I just started moving it up and down, and I was thinking, what if I could put an LFO on this? And I discovered you can't. The LFO can only be mapped to the decay parameter. So you may be able to guess that in this video what we're going to try is putting an LFO on the release parameter. Obviously we can't do it here on the Novation components editor, so what we are going to try to do is use a different synth. Obviously if I did want to have that effect in one of my songs and I wanted to have it seem like there was an LFO, I could just be careful how I automate it and just record that movement in. The only problem is then I'd have to be locked into the time grid in order for it to loop back at the same point at the start of each bar. But that would probably sound that, like, I'd probably want it to be synchronized to the time anyway. Oh, not necessarily. I don't know. That would be a limitation of having to use the circuit tracks for that kind of sound. But give me a minute to just quickly finish off this patch, and then we're going to get into trying to put an LFO on release. Before we get into that, I think it's pretty cool, some of the stuff I've done with this patch, so I might just show you a few things. I only have 2 sources available for recording audio, so unfortunately you're going to have to deal with that audio quality. Let's take a look around the patch. So we have a wavetable oscillator, digital vocal 3, and then just a simple saw wave. And then this wavetable oscillator has unison, and you can control the detune using the second knob here. However, that knob is also mapped to the level of the saw wave, also the inverse level of the wavetable. So hang on, no, it's inverse for the saw wave and normal for the wavetable. So the second knob starts at the saw wave at maximum volume and the wavetable at half volume, and then as you turn it up, it brings the saw wave out, it brings the wavetable up, and it also detunes the wavetable. So it's one knob controlling a bunch of parameters, so it shapes the sound in a lot of ways at once, and I think that's pretty cool. The other thing is the filter envelope is really snappy. So if you turn down the filter cutoff, you get these little plucky sounds, and I think that's also quite good. And then also, if you get rid of that plucking sound, you can turn up the release to make the notes go into each other. Okay, that's all. Now let's move on to LFO on release. Alright, let's start off with Vital. I've been playing around with the settings in terms of like the audio devices, and going into low latency mode definitely reduces the latency to the point that it's like you can work with it. I don't know if it will be good enough that like you could use this to control it in real time and also have synths running on here and have them playing at the same time, but it would be pretty cool if I could get the latency down to the point that you could do that without it being noticeable. Okay, so let's just get into trying to make this patch. We'll have a look at some different oscillators here. Interesting. What about the second one? Very interesting. Alright, let's just go with this sound. Cool, and then we can turn on one of the filters. We'll put an envelope on that, just on the cutoff. And then yeah, something like that. Alright, the moment you've been waiting for. An LFO onto the release. And make sure this is bipolar. If you just press a note, sometimes it'll be short and snappy. Sometimes it will do that like that. I don't know how to explain it. It's just like increasing the release after the note finishes. So it comes out and then it almost goes to 0 and then it comes back in a little bit. And that sounds really cool. But what if now we write a sequence and the LFO will be going up and down over time? Alright, so this is the sequence I came up with. And if I just sort of decrease the depth of this modulation a little bit, so it's just a little bit more subtle. And then, yeah, I just think it sounds pretty cool. So, you know, you see how like coming up with just like a random little idea of putting an LFO on the release, and the idea literally came from a limitation that another synth has, and I went, oh, I wonder what that would sound like, and now here I am trying it in a different synth. It's just like it's an interesting way to come up with like creative things to do in terms of making new sounds. Like, not that this is a brand new sound no one's ever tried, but it's a new sound to me. It's a new sound in my heart. I think I'm gonna try and just add a bit more to this preset, and then I can save it, and it'll just be a preset I have to work on songs. Let's add a quiet, I'm gonna say, sub voice, 2 octaves below, and it can just be a triangle wave, I think. Oh wait, I need basic shapes. There we go. And then that doesn't need to get filtered at all, but it can be louder now because there's not so many overtones. And then we'll add another oscillator just at the same pitch. And then this one can go through the filter. But what sound are we going to put on it? Well, I'll just turn these off for a sec and we'll explore some possibilities. I think I want to try one of these complex options. What is this? Shots. That's interesting. Say it around there. And turn it down. And then bring the other two back in. Yeah, we could do a little bit of panning. We could do pan automation. We could just put the random source here onto the pan. And also make sure that that's bipolar. And now every note, this oscillator will be panned randomly in one side. Cool. So, what now? Well, this is getting filtered. We could automate the filter, put an LFO on it. Have it on sync. Nice and short, so that it can only go up by a small amount. And then we'll also put an envelope on it, so it can do little plucks and just have like a really short decay. So now oscillator 3 is randomly panned on every note, does this short little decay, and also the overall filter cutoff is also being modulated up and down. So like the point to which it decays down is being modulated. I'll just take the release off of that LFO. So this is what we get. This sound. Sounds pretty good. So what else could we add? Well, we could try changing one of the filters. I mean, it's not really going to have a massive impact, but we could just yeah. If we make it that smaller one, we could increase the envelope intensity. Alright, I think that's it. This sound is complete. So we'll save it. What should we call it? Water bells. Because it sounds like bells, and this oscillator is called Water Razor. I'm very, very creative. Aren't I? Alright. Done. This one was a bit more laid back, just sitting down making a preset. But nonetheless, hopefully it was just fun to sit back and relax and make a sound. Yeah. That's it. So hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing to my channel. If you have any comments, feedback or suggestions, make sure to leave them in the comment section down below. But other than that, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.